Well, now we'll do the review for section 2-2, and it says graph and label 2 points. Okay, well this is clearly a parabola with a y-intercept at -9. If we let x be 0, we get -9, and it's opening up. And we have to label 2 points. Let's see, so this is 0, -9. Let's find the y-intercepts. Setting y equal to 0, that is, we have, if y equals 0, then x squared minus 9 equals 0. So x squared equals 9. By the square root property, x equals plus or minus 3. So this point right here is -3, 0, and the other x-intercept is at 3, 0, and we're done with that one. Okay, now we're doing question B, and we've got to graph this and label 2 points. Okay, well, we know this is going to graph as a hyperbola, a curve in opposite quadrants. So let's see, let's graph it right over here. And we also know that it has a vertical asymptote of -3 because -3 will take that denominator to 0. So we've got a vertical asymptote there. And it's got a horizontal asymptote, and to find the horizontal asymptote, we just cover up the 3, and now we have the quotient of 3x over x, and the x's divide out, and we get 3. So our horizontal asymptote is at 3, and now we'll draw that. Then the question is our graph going to be in these 2 quadrants or these 2 quadrants? Easy way to find out. Find the y-intercept. And if we let x be 0, f of 0 is 0. So we're going through that point. Then the rest of the graph is in the opposite quadrant. And we've done it. Oh, I see. We've got to label 2 points. Let's do that. 0, 0 is one of those 2 points, and we can come up with one more. How about letting x equal 3? If x is 3, this will be 9 over, and 3 plus 3 is 6. 9 over 6 is 9 over 6 is 3 halves, isn't it? So 3 and 3 halves. Yep, there we've got our 2. Now we're doing question C. And we have to graph this and label 2 points. Well, let's draw our system, Cartesian coordinate system. And let's see, let's not worry about the -4 for the moment. What value of x will take x plus 5 to 0? Well, -5 will. So we'll go over here to -5. Now this -4 says go down 4. Okay, we'll go down 4. So here we are at -5, 4. And that's where our new vertex is. Next question, well, let's find the y-intercept. So let's evaluate f of 0. And f of 0, replacing x with 0, I get 5 minus 4 is 1. So here we are at 0, 1. Now let's find one other point on this graph. Oh, we've got 2 points, don't we? We know the other one goes up there, doesn't it? But, yeah, that's good. We're good. Well, now we have to graph this piecewise function, and the domain goes for this first piece is x is less than 2, and for the second piece, x is greater than or equal to 2. Well, let's evaluate the first piece, graph it, and let's just let x be 2 and see what happens. 2 minus, and 2 times 2 is 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2, so here we are at, oh, I beg your pardon, we let x be 2, didn't we? Excuse me, 2, negative 2, yeah. And now let's let x be 0, and if x is 0, we get 2. And so the graph looks like that, and we're going to put an open circle here because 2 isn't in the domain of this portion. Now, for the next part, let's let x be 2, and what we get is 0. So here we are, 2, 0, and we'll put a solid there, 2, 0. And let's let x be something greater than 2. How about 4? And if we let x be 4, 4 minus 2 is 2. So here we are at 4, 2. And now we've graphed this piecewise function. So now we're doing the last of the equations. We're going to graph it and label 2 points, and it's f of x equals 3 minus the square root of 2 minus x. And as we already know the domain, to find the domain we take 2 minus x and set it greater than or equal to 0, and subtracting 2 from both sides. X is greater than, negative x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now if we multiply through by negative 1, we get x is less than or equal to 2. We had to flip that inequality. So the domain equals the set x such that x is less than or equal to 2. So we also know this. We know the general shape of the graph of the square root function. For example, y equals the square root of x. We know that graph's like this. Well, using that general shape to graph, we're going to go to what value of x takes this to 0. By the way, let's ignore for the moment the 3 and the minus sign. So x, when x is 2, we get 0. 2. Now, if it was not for that negative sign, this would graph like that. But we have this negative sign to contend with. Let's ignore the 3. So that means we're going to flip that over the x-axis. Now, let's take into account the 3 there, and the 3 says to raise the whole graph up 3 units. And we did that, 1, 2, 3. Now what is this point here? It's 2, 3. And now let's draw that graph. And what's the y-intercept if we let x be 0? F of 0 equals 3 minus root 2. So this is going to look something like that. And so this point right here is 3. I beg your pardon. It's 0 and 3 minus root 2, which is about 1.4. Anyhow, and we are done.